What are those things? Things like, for example, quick كده, what's the slope of this equation? How do I get the slope here? I will, حاضر. How do I get the slope here? Dominant range, حاضر. How do I get the slope?
Negative A over B.
Yep, thank you, negative A over B, and that's the slope. If I'm thinking y-intercept, then it's C over B. That is what we call y-intercept. I also want to review probability, percentages, and fractions. The three of them are the same rule exactly, which is the wanted over the total. If you remember, we've solved too many questions on those. Keeping in mind in the percentage, we have to multiply by 100 after we're done with the wanted over total. So they're all wanted over total except for the percentage, still wanted over total. Then we multiply by 100. In the fractions, when we are comparing fractions to each other, whether we want to, or whether we're discussing parts of something, please remember that in order to compare fraction, they must have the same denominator. So if I see too many fractions out of the same thing, I cannot really compare them to each other. I cannot know which one is bigger than the other. I wouldn't be able to know the remaining amount unless they all have the same denominator. Then I'd be able to easily compare between them. There is something called vectors. This is a part only of the ACT test. This part, it has branches, but the important main idea for you to know is that we have four main directions as usual. That, for example, we go right, east, that's positive, west, that's negative, up, that's positive, and down, that's negative. So if I said, for example, that this distance here to the left is 10I, what do you think this distance will be? If they're equal to each other in different opposite directions, exactly. These will be negative 10I. So the negative or positive thing of the vector mainly tells me which direction it's going. The ones on the x coordinates, we always give them the letters I. The ones on the y coordinate or up and down, we always give them the letter J. I want you to think about them this way for the time being. And you'll see you'll be able to solve questions using just the simple facts like those. What else? Give me a second, I'm writing the notes down. I want to remind you of the circle. The equation of the circle, which is mainly when we have two brackets, both of them have, one of them has x and the other one has y. They're both to the power of 2 and equals to a number squared. Now the center of this circle can be found by these two numbers, but with the opposite signs, so positive h and positive k, while the radius of the same circle can be found by square rooting the number that's here. That would get you the r, which is the radius. We also learned how to do what we call completing the square. So let's say if we have something like this. We open up two brackets, squared, added to each other. We put the number that's out here as it is out there. We put a y here, we put an x here. And then for the bracket of the x, we take the coefficient of the x, which is the 6, and we divide it by 2. And we put the number over here. For the y, we'll do the same thing. This is supposed to be y, by the way. We'll do the coefficient of the y, which is the -8, and we're going to divide it by 2 and put the answer over here, -4. Then these two numbers that we got, we're going to square them and put them over here added. So plus 3 to the power of 2, and then this one as well, plus -4 to the power of 2. So that will become 125 on this side. And that will be completing the square. And the center of this circle is -3 and +4, while the radius of this circle is square root 125. That will give me the radius. Any questions about any of those things that I just discussed?
وانا مستر اعمل كده لما يطلب مني
لما يبقى مديني هو الايكويشن بتاعت السيركل بفورم غير اللي انا محتاجها. يعني مثلا هو مديني الفورم دي، والفورم دي مش بتبين لا سنتر ولا راديوس، وهو مثلا عايز مني الاريا. طب ما انا كده لازم اجيب الراديوس، فعشان اعرف اجيب الراديوس لازم الاول اخليها في الفورم اللي هي بتاعه السيركل اللي انا عارفها، اللي فيها براكتس وباور 2 والحاجات دي.
تمام. يعني هو هيكون عايز الراديوس،
ممكن يكون عايز الراديوس، ممكن يكون عايز السنتر، ممكن يكون عايز الاريا او السيركمفرنس. المهم ان انت محتاج السنتر او الراديوس، therefore لازم تكتبها بالفورم دي او بالمنظر ده.
ماشي.
معلش يا جماعه، give me a second, I have to get the door. معلش. Very sorry. Are we good? Any problems regarding the circle? Any problems regarding the vectors, fractions, probability, or the slope from the standard form? Then it seems like you're ready. Please head to Google Classroom and start working on right away P5. It has a total of 5 questions. Some of those questions are geometry, others are just linear. Some of them will use the information that I just discussed, and others may not. It's fine.
Mr. Ahmed?
Yes.
Is this calculator or non-calculator?
Calculated, all of it. So you can use your calculator على طول.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
You're most welcome. And I'll give you for the 5 questions 5 minutes. They shouldn't, to be honest, take more than that. 5 minutes, start now. Which of the following does not appear in the circle? Acute triangle, equilateral, isosceles, right, and scalene. Before we even discuss the question, we need to understand the meanings of every one of those. So we need to memorize. What does the word acute triangle mean? It means it's a triangle that has 3 acute angles. What does it mean to have an acute angle? An acute angle is the angle below 90, angle smaller than 90. So when the three angles of a triangle are smaller than 90, then that means that this is an acute triangle. Type, what's an equilateral triangle? It's a triangle that have three equal sides. Which means it has three equal angles. And the equilateral triangle, each angle is equals to 60 because 60 plus 60 plus 60 is 180. Or in other words, it's 180 divided by 3 and that would still give me 60. في أي حد مش فاهم أي حاجة من اللي أنا قلتها دي؟ Now an isosceles triangle. An isosceles triangle is a triangle that has two equal angles or two equal sides. They're the same thing. If I have two sides, then I have two angles. If I have two angles, I have two sides. A right triangle is a triangle that has one angle that's equals to 90 degrees. A scalene triangle is a triangle that has no side or angle are equal, no sides or angles are equal to each other. So a scalene triangle has all measures different than each other and so on. طيب, let's check here. Now, generally, you need to understand that in any circle, أي circle في الدنيا, all the radii are equal. يعني إيه radii؟ radii هي جمع radius. radii هي جمع radius. So all the radii are equal. هو مش ده كده يعتبر radius وده برضو radius أهو وده radius وده radius. كل دول قد بعض. كل الرادياي قد بعض. So when you look على التريانجل اللي على اليمين ده DCO, this one, مبدئيا كده في two sides equal to each other. So that means there is an isosceles triangle. So this cannot be one of the choices. Also, there is a 90-degree angle in this triangle right here. So it cannot be a right triangle. طيب, is it considered an acute triangle? No, it's not, because there is one angle that's equals to 90 degrees. طيب, but when you check the other one, this one has two sides equal to each other, which means two angles are also equal to each other. يعني دي كمان قد دي. When you try to calculate them, they're going to be 60 or 60. So 60, 60, 60 means this is an equilateral triangle. So three sides are actually equal. So the equilateral triangle cannot be one of the options. Also, because the three angles are 60, that means it is already an acute triangle as well. The three angles are smaller than 90, so it is not an acute. So the only option is scalene. There are no scalene triangles in this shape at all. All the triangles that are here have either the same sides or the same angles, or the three sides are equal to each other. Does that make sense?
طب مستر هو انا ليه عند اللي هو الترينجل اللي كان فيه 60 عرفت منين ان التو انجلز التانيين 60؟
Because 180 minus 60 and then divided by 2 because they're equal to each other will give you 60.
يعني هو لو دلوقتي التوب 60 يبقى التو انجلز التانيين 60؟
لو هم قد بعض. هم قد بعض ولا لا؟
ايوه، ما انا سؤالي بقى احنا عرفنا منين ان هم قد بعض؟
عشان التو سايدز دول قد بعض، الرادياي، مش ده راديوس وده راديوس؟ مش ده راديوس وده راديوس، يبقى الانجل اللي بص على الراديوس ده قد الانجل اللي بص على الراديوس ده، يعني الانجل دي قد الانجل دي.
تمام.
طيب يبقى عشان اجيب الباقي كام هعمل 180 minus 60 واللي هيطلع اعمله divide by 2 فيديني 120 divide by 2 which is then 60. So كل انجل هنا ب 60. ما دام انا عندي كل او 2 حتى انجلز ب 60 اكيد الثالثه ب 60، يبقى ده على طول الكولاترال صح؟
تمام، مش فاهم. شكرا يا مستر.
عفوا يا حبيبي.
Mr. Ahmed,
Yes.
in the SAT exam, questions like these are general questions that require you to know different types of shapes. Do they come up often?
No, but it's important to know the names of at least the equilateral, isosceles, and the right triangle. These are the most
mostly
important.
the triangles, not like everything else.
No. Yeah, and even here they don't care about any other thing other than the triangles.
Right, Mr. I was just making sure because I
get it.
all the shapes memorized.
It's fine.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Now, the second one is extremely easy and extremely important because the word slope, by now, we're supposed to be professionals in whatever is called slope. What is the slope of the line of this that is parallel to whatsoever? Whenever I read the word parallel, I think of equal slopes. Equal to what? Equal to this line. What's the slope of this line? This is written in the form of ax plus by equals c. يبقى السلوب negative a over b. يعني السلوب هنا negative 1 over 5. This is my slope, g. And that's it. This is an extremely easy question. Any questions here? Given that y is equals to x over x minus 1 and x is bigger than 1, which of the following is a possible value for y? What could be the value of y? Now this one محتاج شوية تفكير, okay? So pick a number that's bigger than 1. I want to try something, okay? 2? What do you mean 2? What do you mean 2, يا جد? Pick a number that's bigger. Okay. So we pick 2. Okay, if I put 2 here and 2 over that, that should get me the answer as 2. What do you notice about this answer here? Positive, that's the first thing. Okay. So what if okay, so will it always remain positive? Yes, it will always remain positive. So whatever the value that I substitute here instead of the x, and here as well instead of the x, their overall answer will always remain positive. But the thing is I cannot حتى substitute مكان الx حاجة بالنيجاتيف لأن هو already قال لي إن الx bigger than 1. So الأوبشنز الوحيدة اللي ينفع تتحط مكان الx هتكون أرقام أكبر من 1. لما جربت ب 2 I noticed بس إن الأنسر اللي بتطلع positive. دي أول حاجة. وتاني حاجة إن بتطلع bigger than 1. Now, if you tried بدل 2 لو حطيت 1.1 check that out please on a calculator. ممكن حد يحسبها 1.1 minus 1 ممكن حد يحسب الأنسر تطلع هنا كام؟ 11 is getting bigger than 1. So no matter, it's still bigger than 1 and it's still always positive. So no matter what's the value that you're going to put instead of the x, as long as it's bigger than 1, الأنسر هتطلع لي على طول positive وهتطلع لي على طول أكبر من 1. So when you look at the choices, A can't be لأنها negative, و B can't be لأنها negative, و C 0 ما تنفعش. D هي positive بس هي مش bigger than 1 فما تنفعش. ف E هي ال only possible choice that could work here. What will lead to negative يا محمد? You mean if I put the x with 0.9 ولا put the y with 0.9? محمد جلال y, yeah. طيب, so this is it. That's an easy برضو one. It requires بس شوية تجربة كده و patience شوية. Now in 24, the set of all positive integers that are divisible by both 15 and 35 is infinite. What's the least possible integer in this set? يعني ايه؟ الست هي ايه؟ هي البوزيتيف integers اللي divisible by 15 and 35. يعني ايه divisible by 15 and 35؟ يعني ينفع اعملهم divided 15 او ينفع اعملها divided 35. So انا عايز رقم معين، الرقم ده ينفع عادي اعمله divided 15 وبرده نفس الرقم ينفع اعمله divided 35. بس عايز ال least possible value for this number. So كل اللي محتاج اعمله ان انا actually اجربهم يعني. So I think مثلا if you tried 50 divided 35 will not come out as a number. 50 divided 15 will come out as a decimal. كلهم هيطلعوا decimal حاجة point حاجة. 105 divided 15, check them out. I don't even recall what was it. So the only possible answer I think is 105. Yes, 105 divided 15 will come out as 7, and then 105 برضو divided 35 will come out as 3. So ال 105 is divisible by both ال 15 وال 35، ودي أصغر option موجود في الأوبشنز دي، لأن ال 50 وال 5 دول ما ينفعوش أصلا، واللي أكبر من 105 would not work لأنه he's asking for the least positive integer in this set. Does that make sense ولا لأ؟ Please ask if you're برضو a bit confused. It's important.
Mister, I'm a bit confused. Like,
Ask.
are we looking for something that's not a decimal, or what exactly?
Yes, we're looking for. Okay, when I say that 10 is divisible by 5, it means that I can divide it by 5, and the result will be something that doesn't have any decimal points. If it has a decimal point, then that means that the 10 is not divisible by 5. Okay, so that's what I'm checking. I'm dividing the numbers by 15 and by 35 and checking if the results would both come out as numbers without decimals or not. Does that make sense, Ali?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, thank you. I thought it was the other way around when I was solving. I was looking for the decimal.
Ah, okay. No.
That's why I chose 50 straight away, because it was the first one I tried and I got a decimal, so I thought it was it.
I get it.
Thank you, Mr.
You're most welcome. Type 25. The measure of angle A is 58. You're given this one, and AB is equals to AC. Now I would highlight AB and ABC. I'll just put a line here and a line there. Now since these two sides are equal to each other, then مين ال two angles اللي المفروض يكونوا equal؟ الانجلز اللي بص عليهم، يعني الانجل دي والانجل دي. So الانجلز اللي بالريد هم دول الانجلز اللي قد بعض. If I have already in a triangle one angle that's equals to 58, how can I find the other two? I'll just put the 180, which is the three of them, minus the 58, and whatever comes out, I'll divide that by 2. So it should be 122 divided by 2, which would become 61 degrees. So each of those angles is 61 degrees. In that case, the three of them plus بعض will be equals to 180, and these two sides will remain equal to each other. Does that make sense?
Yes, Mr. Thank you.
I love that. Now, once you, inshallah, move that to P6, P6 has a question that has to do with probability. One question that has to do mean, mode, and median. When we add a number or when something happens, what happens to the median, mean, and mode? This one requires شوية تفكير. It could be solved common sense. This one is regarding the areas of a rectangle. And this one is the average of something. That was about خلاص لا كفاية بقى بس. We'll stop at the average here. So 5 questions, again, starting probability, mean, mode, median, common sense, areas, and then average again. So please head to Google Classroom, P6, and I'll give you, for those, 7 minutes, but please make sure to finish within the 7 minutes. 7 minutes started now. نمتي خلاص؟ طيب محمد مثلا أحمد
ايوه
قادر؟ يلا بينا.
هنا هو كان عايز هو هنا اداني يعني السكوير كيلومترز بتاعت اللي انا اللاند وبرده الاريا بتاعت الوود.
حلو.
وقام قايل لي عايز بقى البروبابيلتي ان انا هيبقى الحاجه اللي هتقع دي هتبقى عند الوود.
اوكي.
فاحنا عارفين لو عايز البروبابيلتي ولما شفت في الانسرز وعايزها بالبرسنتج فهبقى الرول بتاعتي الوانتد اوفر التوتال تايمز ال 100.
يا سلام، بيرفكت. بعدين
بس بعدين هو عايز الووتر، فالووتر مدياني ان هي ب 3.63 تايمز 10 باور 8
صح،
اوفر الصم بتاع الاثنين تايمز 100.
اوفر التوتال بالظبط، اللي هو هيكون الايرث والواتر، اللي هو 1.48 بلس 3.63. ممكن ما احطش ال 10.8 خالص فيهم كلهم ما دام هي كومن ما بينهم كلهم، فممكن ما اكتبهاش خالص. تحسب ده بقى على الكالكوليتر تايمز 100
بجي تقريبا.
طلعت لي جي صح، 71% صح. Thank you so much يا محمد. This is perfect. So انت بس يو هايلايت اهو الحاجات اللي ابتدينا منها. اول حاجه we noticed كلمه probability، بعدين كتبنا الرول بتاع probability، بعدين شفنا ايه الوانتد، بعدين فكرنا في ايه التوتال. التوتال في الكيس دي هيكون earth and water together. So it's both together added. دي 26 في اي حد عنده اي مشكله؟ Let's check 27. 27 بيقول لي on the first 7 statistics tests of the semester. ده مهم لان احنا حلينا حاجات شبهها كتير. Jamal scored 61, 76 and so on. The mean, median and mode of his scores were 79, 80 and 80. So mean, median and mode. The mean in this case is 79 while the median is 80 and the mode is 80. On the 8th statistics test, Jamal scored 90. So the 8th is one more added على دول، يعني دول already 7 هيقعد عليهم واحد كمان وهي scored فيها 90، يعني scored رقم كبير apparently. How do the mean, median and mode of all 8 compare to the mean, median and mode of the first 7? Who would like to go with this one? يحيى تحب انت تعمل دي معايا؟
تمام.
يلا.
ماشي تمام. فهو دلوقتي عايز يشوف ايه اللي اتغير وايه اللي ما اتغيرش.
صح.
المود اولا اسهل حاجه عشان اعرف اليمينيت اكتر انسرز.
صح.
هو زي بعضه، فدلوقتي عندي سي ودي بس.
جود. المود هيفضل زي ما هو لان الرقم الزياده ما غيرش حاجه. المود كان 80 اصلا والرقم الزياده 90، فما فيش فرق. صح.
ايوه.
So المود equal. فين المود equal؟ So it's either C or E، وانت كده شلت A و B و D.
ايوه.
Perfect. بعدين
تمام. فهو دلوقتي المود الميديم بقى انا عملتها بالطريقه العاديه اللي هو عديت كام ترم، بعدها لو حطيت الترم هيكون ازاي.
حلو. بس كده كده بقى في لقطه كده كنت حكيت لكم عليها، فاكر على موضوع الجراف بتاع اليو كان، او بلاش كده حتى، قلت لو انا زودت رقم اكبر من الميديان، يعني لو الميديان هنا في النص اهو، لو انا زودت رقم اكبر من الميديان هنا كبير، الميديان يكبر، ولو زودت رقم اصغر من الميديان صغير جدا، الميديان يصغر one step back. فاهم؟ هما مترتبين. فالميديان فين؟ الميديان هتلاقيه اهو لما يبقوا رقم تامن كبير، الميديان يروح فين؟ يكبر. المفروض يروح for the next one، بس ال next one بالصدفة برضو 80. So the median actually will not change. فبقت ايه هي الكوريكت one عشان هي دي اللي فيها median برضو. طيب. Everyone, would you like me to repeat? Thank you so much. Everyone, would you like me to repeat this?
Thank you.
طيب، من احلى الحاجات اللي حصلت دلوقتي فكره المود. اوكي، فكره ان المود اوريدي عشان بس هو ايكوال، ده شال لي 3 من التشويسز. سو بس باي لوكينج ات ان الرقم اللي اتزود ده 90 وال 90 مش موجوده هنا خالص والمود اوريدي 80، معناها ان المود لما احط رقم 90 زياده المود هيفضل 80 مش هيتغير. So if the mode will not change, then it must be equal. So it's either C or D. That excluded A or B or D. This is the first most important step. The next one you can either go by المين أو to go by الميديان. لو أنت فاهم المين كويس خلاص أنت عارف المين ده بكام. Now calculate the new mean. إيه النيو مين؟ اللي هما دول كده السبعة بلس بعض بلس كمان ده over 8 دلوقتي لأن هما بقوا 8 tests. وتشوف ايه اللي هيحصل في المين. لو لقيته كبر يبقى
يس. هو كده اصلا في المين في التو انسرز بيتك مش فاهم
بالظبط. لو لقيته كبر هلاقي ان كده الاثنين واحد، فهضطر غصبا عيني فعلا ابص على الميديان نو ماتر وات. So the median in order to compare it, remember الموضوع ده كويس قوي. لو زودت رقم أكبر من الميديان اللي موجود دلوقتي الميديان يكبر يروح for the next number. لو زودت رقم أصغر من الميديان اللي موجود دلوقتي الميديان يصغر يروح for the previous term. بس هنا النمبرز لما تبقى تكتبهم وتلاقيهم اوريدي مترتبين هتلاقي ان ال 80 اوريدي موجوده مرتين. So لما اجي ازود النمبر اللي هو ال 90 ده الميديان هيروح one step bigger to the right. To the right يعني هيطلع برضه 80 تاني. So the median actually will not change. Therefore E must be the correct answer. This is a very important question. 28 هتاخد مننا نص اليوم، استنوا علينا شويه عشان ده عايز discuss it in details. 29 الأول. One side of a square ABCD has a length of 12 meters. A certain rectangle whose area is equal to the area of ABCD has a width of 8 meters. What is the length in meters of the triangle? So, who would like to join? Okay, Jed will go with 28 with me. 29, who would like to go for that?
I can do it with you, Mr.
Yalla habibi, go ahead. What do you think?
Let's say they both have the same area.
Good. So,
first thing we notice is that they say it's a square, so all sides are going to be 12 by the way.
okay, so what can I do out of that information?
You're going to get the area.
What's the area? Perfect. What's the area of the square then?
I don't remember, but I think 144.
Which is, I mean, how do I get it? Side by side, right?
Yeah, 12 times 12.
Oh, 12 times 12, or 12 power 2, which is correct, 144. So this is the area of the square. Then what?
And then you're going to do 144 divided by 8, which is going to be 18.
Good. Why is that? Because the area of the rectangle is supposed to be what?
The
Length.
same as the area of the square.
It's supposed to be length times width, which is supposed to be, yes, equal to, or is the same as the area of the square. But I'm already given that the width is equals to 8. So it's now length times 8 equals to 144. If I need to find the length, I just need to move the 8 to the other side by division. So the length is 144 divided by 8. And that's how you got the answer as 16. Was that true?
18.
18? Okay. 18. C is the correct one. Thank you so much. Perfect.
Thank you.
Have been used before. Okay. طيب. Who we'll work on 30 and then we'll go back to 28. Number 30. Number 30 is about the mean and median and so on. Would anyone برضو care to do this one with me? Especially if you think you're struggling شوية صغيرين حتى. محمد جلال يلا. لبست محمد جلال. محمد لو قادر يلا، لو مش قادر طبعا فاكس. يلا قادر يلا. يلا. The average of a list of 4 numbers is 92. عملت حاجة هنا؟
أنا مستر اللي أنا عملته بصراحة I got the 40 and I added 3 equal numbers to the 40 and divided them by 4.
يا لهوي يا ماشي. بس أنا ماشي you did perfectly right. I want you بقى بس to إنك تحاول دلوقتي معايا to work it my way شوية. So you remember I always used to tell you to first start with what you know. Now when you read the first sentence, is there anything you know there? لحد الحتة دي.
Any 4 numbers added together divided by 4 is 92.
Not yes, but if you remember, the most important part that I needed to say about the average is whenever the average is given, you multiply the average by the number. That would get you the sum without even thinking about the rest of the question. So لو أنا قلت لك الأول إن الأفريج بتاع 4 numbers ب 92، اعمل ال 4 دي times ال 92 عشان يديني السم بتاع ال 4 numbers كام؟ فاهم الفكرة دي؟ فيطلع لي 368. السم ده will help me later on and we'll see. Now a new list of 4 numbers has the same first 3 numbers as the original, but the fourth in the original list is 40, but the fourth number is 40. Now and the fourth number in the new list is 48. So 4 numbers has the same first 3 numbers يعني بس 3 منهم هما اللي زي بعض صح؟ And then the fourth number in the original list is 40. So if the fourth number was 40, can you get the sum of the other 3?
Yes, yes.
How?
Have you 368 minus 4 divided by 3?
Or minus
Minus 40.
40, yes, which is the score of the fourth one. So that would come out as 328. ال 328 ده هو ال sum of 3 tests أو 3 numbers صح؟ So now you have the sum of the 3 numbers كام؟ He's telling you لو ال fourth بدل ما بقى 40 بقى 48. What's the new average? So add على ال 328 now 48 and then divide them by 4 to get the new average. قول لي حاجة.
لا مستر فاهم يا مستر.
لا مش مبسوط though.
لا ما فاهم.
بس مش عاجباك.
شكرا مستر أنا عملتها بطريقتي وقلتها صح في الآخر.
لا مش بقول انها طريقة غلط خالص. انا عايز بس لما ابقى بشرحها بصوت عالي كله يبقى في one method that works for everything. فكرة ان ال 4 multiplied by anything will get you the sum. انت قعدت تفكر فيها which came out right. انا مش بقول انها غلط بس قعدت تفكر. قعدت تفكر يا ترى هو انا عملتها 40 40 40 و30 which works ماشي it's fine. بس من غير ما اعرف الديتيلز اصلا بتاعت كل واحدة بكام انا بس محتاج السم بتاع الثلاثة على بعض وخلاص صح؟
أيوه.
فاهم؟ هي طريقة تانية تبص لها بس مش بقول ان انت غلط خالص طبعا.
تمام مستر.
ثانك يو يا حبيبي. في اي حد مش فاهم السؤال ده؟ Do you want me to re-explain this one? again the whole idea ان انا كان عندي 4 numbers هو مديني already الافرج بتاعهم بكام. بعدين قال لي ان في 3 منهم هيفضلوا زي ما هم بس الرقم الرابع بتاعهم بدل ما كان ب 40 هخليه ب 48. ممكن تقول لي بقى النيو افرج هيبقى كام؟ So this is actually يعني pretty easy. We just needed to multiply the number by the average. That would get me the sum. The sum بقى 368. Now شيل منه 40 وحط بدلها 48. So شلت من 368 40 وبعدين زودت مكانها 48 وجبت الافرج تاني عملت divide by 48. ده اداني الافرج الجديد. And that's it. طيب تعال نرجع ل 28 بقى. جاد ها يا حبيبي قول لي.
How to solve? First step, they told us that this is a rectangular prism.
Good.
They said, what is the total number of white cubes that were used to build the prism?
Okay.
So I have to find the area
Okay.
of sorry, the set of this area of this shape.
Okay.
So I since it's a rectangular prism, we have two pairs of 3 different faces.
Okay. True.
So first face is the one I see in front of me.
Okay.
Which if we count its squares, we can solve it using unit area.
Okay.
So we have the upper side of it is 7 cubes and the right side is
6.
how much? 6 cubes.
Yeah.
So the area is length times width,
42.
which is 42.
Okay.
Then the upper one is also 7 times 6.
Okay. So that's another 42.
That's another 42, yes. And then the one on the right is 6 times
6, which is 36. 6 times 5.
Something, yes.
6 times 5 is 30.
It confuses. Sorry.
It's fine.
The upper one is 7 times 5, which is
yeah.
Which is 7 times 5, 35, yes. And the one on the right is 6 times 5, which is 30.
Okay.
We add them together.
Okay.
Then we multiply by 2. So 42 plus 35, that's 77, plus 30, which is 97.
Okay. Then
The thing is that I used that it's solving a volume actually. Then I remembered, yeah, there's nothing inside the cube. That's why I used surface area. يعني هو المفروض
لا no why did you assume that there is nothing inside?
Because I don't know. يعني if there was something inside, the answer would be bigger. If I
No.
were to assume something is inside, the answer would be bigger.
No.
That's why. However, if I solved it by volume, I would get the answer as HI. Then, when you chose me to solve, I figured that it needs surface area.
Why?
However, surface area doesn't solve it.
Why did you think of the surface area? Now I get it that now the surface area it would work if فعلا it's hollow, if the shape is empty from the inside, but you don't know that. It's like those cubes were just put right next to each other, ترصصوا كده, and then we built the shape. So actually what makes more sense is that the volume is more usable. The volume would tell you how many boxes are in there. Does that make sense? Yes.
So in that case, I would multiply 7 by 6 by 5, which gives me 210, and then divide by 2 since we have black and white cubes. So the answer would be 105.
Okay.
It was just a moment of eureka that
I get it.
came out at the wrong time.
No, I get it. It's like, this could, it happens to me all the time, and it happens actually when we were together. It happened before, so that's fine. That's absolutely fine. That was really good. Okay, thank you. محمد كنت تقول حاجة؟
هو يعني لو احنا هنأسيوم ان في هيفضل مكمل لجوه، انا ما اعرفش هو هيكمل بأنهي فيز بالظبط.
لا تعرف، لان هو بيقول لك انه كده كده اي بوكس ابيض بيتحط جنبه بوكس اسود، نو ماتر هو ايه قصته، صح؟ شو فكر فيها ازاي؟ الموضوع ده ابتدى ازاي؟ ان هو حط بوكسز كيوبز هنا، مش هعرف اعملها عدله طبعا يعني، بس يعني المهم ان هو عندي يحط البوكسز دول، ادي بوكس 2 3 4 5 6 7، وبعدين حط وراهم 7 تانيين، وبعدين 7 تانيين، وبعدين 7 تانيين، وبعدين 7 تانيين، قعد يرصهم كده. so this is a shape. وبعدين حط منهم هم 6 فوق بعض طبقات بالمنظر ده. طيب مش فاهم؟ اتس اوكي. بص يا محمد، عايزك تفكر في حاجه، عايزك تفكر فكره ان انا ممكن ابيلد Can you see this shape يا محمد شويه؟ How many cubes are in this shape? محمد جلال، محمد جلال اميوت عشان نلغي شويه. So yes, how many are there? 3.
من نظري يعني شايف 3 صح؟
هم actually 5. اوكي خلينا نسمي هم 5. ليه 5؟ عشان الشيد شويه. ادي ده اهو first one and then one empty and then first one and then the second one, sorry, the third one, sorry, and then fourth empty and then fifth one is right here. فاهم ولا مش قوي؟ متخيلهم يعني اقصد؟
ايوه لسه متخيل.
على فكره هي مش هتيجي ازاي غير بان انا ايه ارسمها لك كده وتقعد تتخيلها شويه معايا، عشان الموضوع هيبقى فيه شويه رخامه. so دول كده يعتبروا all in all 5 boxes، صح؟ تخيل بقى ان انا حطيت من ال 5 دول حطيت وراهم 5 تانيين. ازاي حطيت وراهم 5 تانيين؟ كملت بقى دي لجوه وقمت مكمل السايد ده. so 1 2 3 وبعدين نتحط هنا وراهم اهو كده 1 2 3 4 وموصل. So another 5 new boxes were added here. وهسيب الأولاني وأكفر وأسيب الثالث عشان تتخيل شوية هما إيه. فاهم حاجة؟
أيوة مستر تمام.
So مثلا أدي ده green أهو. I'll put this one as green as well. I'll put this one here as green أهو. I'll put this one. Put this one. So you keep adding. So let's say this is another 5, صح?
Yes.
And then another 5 and then another 5. And now if you can count how many boxes are here, يعني 1 2 3 4 5, you can tell ان هم 5 صفوف ورا بعض، صح؟
صح.
وكل صف فيه 5 cubes. So how many cubes are there? 25. How did we calculate that? عملنا ال 5 اللي هنا دول، الخمس وشوش اللي هنا دول times الخمسه اللي هنا، صح؟
أيوة.
اوكي. So that's وبعدين لو ممكن بقى اقوم حاطط فوقيهم 25 تانيين، فوقيهم 25 تانيين لحد ما اعمل بوكس كبير كيوب كده، صح؟ That's exactly اللي حصل في الشيب اللي على الشمال ده. الشيب اللي حصل على الشمال ده ان هو بدل بقى ما عملهم 5 عمل ناحيه فيها اهو 1 2 3 4 5 6 7، حط 7، وبين السبعه دول رص وراهم 7 تانيين اهم. ابتدوا من هنا، شايف الجنب بتاعهم؟
أيوة.
زي ما كان هنا البيض ده هم الجنب اللي وراهم اهو ده. فهنا برضو السبعه دول حط 7 هنا وبعدين 7 هنا وبعدين 7 هنا وبعدين 7 هنا، حط 5 سبعات. يبقى 7 في 5 دول 35. يبقى البيس بتاعي فيه 35 بوكس كيوب تحت، فاهم؟
أيوة.
ناو ال 35 بوكسز دول اتحط منهم بقى كام ليفل فوق بعض عشان يعملوا الشيب ده؟ ادي 1 2 3 4 5 6 6 layers من ال 35. ف 6 times 35 that would get you the overall volume بتاع الشيب، او كام بوكس موجود overall، صح؟ اللي هم هيطلعوا 210، صح كده؟
صح يا مستر.
طيب انا هو بقى وهم بيرصهم كان بيحط واحده بيضاء واحده سوداء، واحده بيضاء واحده سوداء، واحده بيضاء.
Divided by 2.
So split them divide by 2 تعرف في كام واحده بيضاء وكام واحده سوداء موجوده.
تمام.
شور؟
أيوة مستر شور.
بيرفكت. طيب اللي احنا عملناه بالدماغ ده هو ده بالظبط الرول بتاع الفوليوم. الفوليوم بيعمل كده بالظبط، بيعمل length times width times height، فبيجيب لي كأني عارف في كام بوكس جواه. فعشان كده قلنا الفوليوم على طول اللي هو length times width times height، هو ده اللي هيديني ال 210 اللي هم عدد البوكسز اللي موجوده كلها، while split that by 2 على طول هيديني الانسر which is 105. Does that make sense? Everyone else, does this make sense?
ايوه بس احنا بنعملها امتى؟
بنعملها امتى؟ الفوليوم؟
يعني هو لما يكون عايز الفوليوم
انهي حاجه اللي بتسال عليها ايه هي اللي بنعملها؟
يعني اللي هو لينث تايمز ويدث تايمز
ده الفوليوم بتاع اي شيب. الفوليوم بتاع any shape area of the base times الهايت، صح؟ سو البيس ده بتاعي على شكل ريكتانجل، فعملت length times width times الهايت، خلاص جبت الفوليوم. بحتاج امتى الفوليوم؟ لما يكون الموضوع ليه علاقه بعدد جوه بوكس. يعني مثلا عايز يعرف مثلا البوكس الكبير ياخد كام بوكس من الصغير، ويديك الدايمنشنز بتاع الكبير ويديك الدايمنشنز بتاع الصغير، يبقى هعمل الفوليوم بتاعت الكبيره ديفايدد الفوليوم بتاعت الصغير. هنا مثلا عندك بوكسز كتير قوي عملوا 1 بيج بوكس، عشان تعرف فيه كام بوكس يبقى بتتكلم على فوليومز على طول، فاهم؟
ايوه ماشي.
I hope that makes sense. طيب this is it for the first 3. Now please head for the next 3 and I'll give you exactly 7 minutes for those. You have to finish within 7 minutes so that we have enough time to discuss them. Actually they end at 34 not 35. I don't know why. Let me check. This is P11. No, not P11, sorry. ايه ده؟ هو انا ما خلصتهمش؟ هو ما خلصتش 6 ولا كده خلصتهم؟ خلصت 6. I added 7. Oh shoot. طب لا actually solve 7 عشان 7 الأسئلة بتاعته حلوة مهمة. solve 7 معلش. never mind بقى الباقي solve 7. Jed, are you talking? To me يعني.
Oops, sorry, I left the mic up there.
No, it's fine يا حبيبي. Your voice was too far, so I didn't know if you were talking to me or لا. يلا 7 minutes for P7. Please start now. No? No.
Yeah, it's focus on.
Yeah. But it's pretty easy. To be honest, it's pretty easy.
Thank you, Mr.
You're most welcome. It explains itself. It says the vector I represents 1 mile per hour east. So it's like you're moving east. This is I. And then J represents 1 mile per hour north. So going up north, J. Maria is jogging south at 12 miles per hour. South is going down. And she's going 12 miles per hour. How can I represent her going down using the I and the J in terms of I and J? Since we said up is positive and down is negative, and since up and down are J and right and left are I, then we know for a fact it must be a J. So it's not A, it's not C, and it's not E. Since going up is positive and down is negative, and I'm going down, so B must be the correct answer. That's it. Is that okay or لا؟
هو دي بيجي منها كتير في الاي سي تي صح؟
لا.
ليه كده؟
عشان هي حاجه يعني اصلا ما كانتش بارت اساسا من منهج فتره طويله، يعني حاجه مستفزه شويه مالهاش لازمه، وهو عشان يبقى مستفيد بيها لازم يخش ان ديبث شويه. So it doesn't make sense ان هم يجيبوا الاسئله دي خالص.
يعني هي ما بتجيش كتير.
لا. This one. 4 identical glasses are shown below. One glass is empty. The other 3 glasses are 1/4 full, half full, and 4/5 full of water. If the water were redistributed equally among the 4 glasses, what fractional part of each glass would be filled? And would someone like to do this with me? Go ahead.
So what happens here, since I have 4 glasses,
Okay.
and he wants me to distribute them equally,
Okay.
I must add the amount of water filled in each one.
Okay.
So that is going to be 0
Okay.
plus 0.25
Okay.
plus 0.5 plus 0.8.
Okay.
So after I added them, I will get 1.55. Then I divide it by 4.
Yes, because there are 4 of them, right? Equally among all of them. Okay. So what you did here is actually the mean, right? Is the same as the mean or the average, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So if you remember, يا جماعة, when we were explaining the mean, I was saying if we got the average of the money that all of us have, it's exactly like taking the money from all of us and dividing it equally among each one of us. So when they say that if you took the amount of money available and you divided equally among the 4 of them, it's like you're literally asking you to find the average of the 4 of them. That's what they're asking you to find. So again, maybe this is a very simple question. All what we need to do is to get the sum, which means we add them all and divide it by their number and their 4 cups or 4 glasses. So the answer in this case came out as, what was it?
31/80.
31/80K.
Or 0.3875.
Perfect. So K is the correct answer. Thank you so much, Richard. This was really good. في أي حد مش فاهم السؤال ده؟ Okay. طيب, what happens next? This one. Aurelio is purchasing carpet tiles to cover an area of his living room floor that is 1/3 feet wide by 10 feet long. Now, this question requires the transferring from feet to inches or from inches to feet. And if that came in your test, they will give you the actual rate. هيكتب لك هنا إن ال 1 foot ب 12 inches. So that is something that's considered missing عشان ده international version. So here it is. I'm writing it now actually for you. Let's see how we're going to solve this. First of all, again, they're saying there is this guy who has his room, and it has the lengths of 10 feet by 8 and 1/3 feet. These are the lengths of the measures of his room. And then he needs to get carpet tiles. Each of them is a square, and each of those carpet tiles has a side of 20 but inches, not foot. So this is 20 and again inches, not foot. He needs to know how many, what's the number of carpet needed to cover this area. So it's exactly how the same idea شوية as finding out الكبير هياخد كام واحد من الصغير. The area of this big rectangle هتاخد كام area من ال small square. But in order to do that, we just have to have them all with the same units. يعني I can't have feet and at the same time inches and be able to compare them. I will never be able to compare them. So instead of feet, I'll change them all to inches. Instead of 10 feet, I'll multiply that by 12, so they'll become 120 inches. And instead of 8 times 1/3, I'll multiply that by 12, and it should get me 48, 52, I think. Is that correct? Let me quickly calculate that. So 8 and then 1/3 is mainly, so it's 100. I did not calculate that one right. So that's 100 inches. So I got everything now in inches. In order, yes, 8.333. Oh, you can write it on your calculator عادي by clicking على shift fraction. لا ما تكتبهاش 8 وبعدين 1/3. لا، دوس على shift fraction. عارف ازاي تكتب fraction اللي هو a over b ده؟ دوس على shift الزرار ده هيطلع لك 3 locations تكتب فيهم.
ثانية تاني كده، يعني هو shift بعديها
بلس الزرار اللي عليه a over b. لقيته؟
مش عارف هو ده
تحت شيفت بزرارين.
نعم؟
تحت شيفت بزرارين.
تحت شيفت بزرارين. زرار الفراكشن.
ايوه. هيطلع لك ال 3 سبيسز تكتب فيه. اكتب هنا ال 8 واكتب هنا ال 1 واكتب هنا ال 3.
ايوه.
طيب انا كده جبت الانشز دي والانشز دي. I need to get the area of this and divide it by the area of the smaller one. الاريا هنا هتبقى 120 times 100 والاريا هنا هتبقى 20 times 20. هعمل 120 times 100 is 12,000 divided by 20 times 20 is 400. So that divided by that will get me 30. The bigger space, الروم هتحتاج 30 tiles من الصغيرين دول عشان to get entirely covered. Does that make sense? جماعة, are we good? برضو moving on. Number 34. This is a circle clearly. أول ما بصيت على الchoices كلهم circles. بيقول لي circle with its center 8 و 5 والradius بتاعها 9. أحط ال 8 وال 5 بعكس الساينز يبقى المفروض تكون x minus 8 و y minus 5. ده مبدئيا كده. قلنا اللي بره هنا المفروض يكون الراديوس squared يعني 9 squared يعني 81. So F is the correct answer right away. Just by knowing the rule. Just by knowing the formula.
This question used to be hard for me before, but like after that, memorizing it,
it's extremely easy now, so actually the questions on the circle are not that hard. That's it. Please do the exit ticket. The rest of the assignments and forms, as I told you, are your homework. If you're unable to do them, that's fine. Please prepare lots and lots and lots of questions. Next Monday's class is all about your questions only. So I will not prepare anything. I'll just ask you to send me your questions and solve them with each other on Monday, inshallah. Meanwhile, if you need anything, please let me know. And thank you so much for today.
Is your next Monday or next week, Monday or tomorrow?
After tomorrow.
Thank you very much for today's lesson.
Thank you so much.
Have a great night.
You too, ya habibi.
Bye.
Bye.